Preseen analysis of the strategic case study examination for May and August of 2023. So here we will be looking at the Preseen in more detail, and we will try to understand about our industry and about the company and about the financials, and we will look at future trends as well. So here we will go into more detail in the Preseen and try to understand what questions can come out of the Preseen in the exam day. Okay. Moving on, a company is called Daistruk, right? So from the name itself, you will get some idea as to what the company must be, right? And from, of course, the logo. So we'll go on. So Daistruk is a quoted company that offers a logistics service. So you can clearly see we are a logistics company. And it mentions that we are a quoted company. Why is that important? As we are a quoted company, we will be getting questions on the share market. So you will be getting questions like, why did our share price fall or rise in terms of a given scenario? So you will be given a scenario in the exam, and then from that scenario, you will be asked as to why our share price went up or went down, things like that. So you need to know things like the efficient market hypothesis, right? So you need to know what systematic risk is. All of that you need to know properly, because it is quite likely that you will get questions from this aspect in the exam. So of course you will be able to see questions like this in your mock exams as well. Then you are a senior manager in Daistruk's finance function. You report directly to the board and advise on special projects and strategic matters. So your boss is going to directly be the CFO of the company, right? Because you report directly to the board, and you will of course deal with strategic matters, right? So the company is based in Roundland, and the country is a developed country. So as soon as they say that the country is a developed country, you can expect it to have high standards of living, and of course high levels of economic activity, right? And it has an active and well-regulated stock exchange. Once again, it's important, as we are a quoted company. So basically, we are quoted in an active and well-regulated stock exchange. Therefore, you need to keep this in your mind when you are answering question, right? The currency is the R dollar. So this probably would be the functional currency, right? In terms of your F3 knowledge, right? So R dollars would be your functional currency as well, right? And then of course the country requires us to prepare financial statements in accordance with IFRS, right? Okay, let's move on and see what we have. So first of all, so in this part of the video, we will be trying to understand the logistics industry as a whole for us to better understand about the whole industry and about our company, right? So logistics is a broad term that encompasses the process of managing the flow of goods, ensuring that they reach their intended destination on time. Okay. So it includes planning, implementation, and control required to ensure the safe and efficient management of that flow, as well as the physical transportation of materials and products. So even there itself, you might be able to understand what we are up against, right? So we need to manage the flow of goods, right? And then timeliness is very important in this industry, right? And then we also need to plan, implement, and control. In addition to that, we need to ensure we have a good physical transportation structure as well in the company, right? So usually, how a normal entity operates is, first we have suppliers, and then there is inbound logistics, then we have internal logistics, and then we have outbound logistics to customers, right? So inbound logistics focuses on the procurement of goods, right? So this might include receiving and checking goods, right? So which may take the form of parts, materials, and finished products. Then of course storing goods if required, and updating inventory records. Internal logistics deals with handling goods within the entity, right? So managing the goods, maintaining inventory records, all of that. Then we come to outbound logistics, right? So that is where goods are transferred from our factory or our entity to customers. So this might include warehouse picking, packing, dispatch, and recording, right? In addition to that, outbound logistics also has an interesting thing where there can be reverse logistics function as well, whereby goods would move from customers to the entity. So this might be returns, right? Or it can be returns for the recycling of products or packaging as well, right? So another very important thing is this whole thing requires effective communication of information both within the entity and between the entity and its suppliers and customers. So you can see how important communication is. So even from this itself, you would be able to see that we would definitely need things like IT systems to manage this whole process efficiently. Of course, we'll be looking at the IT aspect later, but then you can clearly see how important systems like that would be given the complexity involved within this industry. And then, of course, the scale and complexity of logistics varies between entities depending on how big or small they are. And of course, what they are doing in their business, right? So we'll look at two examples for us to better understand how different companies would require different types of logistics, right? So one is a vehicle manufacturer and the other is a supermarket, right? So you have Malta Motors, right? So I'm sorry, Malto, let's say Malto Motors, right? So Malto Motors is a global manufacturing company that has 52 factories spread across 31 countries. So it's a giant manufacturing company, right? So things like Toyota, right? You can even BMW, Benz, all of that you can, take into account here. They are a similar size, right? So each factory mass produces a specific product that may then be shipped to other factories as required, right? So there might be a separate factory which is only manufacturing engines, right? So that can be the case, right? So in this engine factory, inbound logistics would be a procurement of engine parts and materials. That is going to be the inbound logistics part. And then internal logistics would, of course, be managing the inventory and supplying the factory when they are asking for a particular part, right? Or some material, right? And then outbound logistics would be storing completed engines and then shipping them to other factories that assembles cars. Now we will look at extracts from our annual report. First of all, let's look at our mission and values. So the mission of Daistruk is Daistruk gets things done. So this is a pretty generic mission, I would say, because it's not a very specific mission to our industry. Getting things done can be the mission for sort of any company who is into service provision. So it is not a very specific mission. We might be able to improve the mission if we want to, right? So having a bit of a industry specific mission. In the exam, there is a small likelihood that you will get a question from this asking you as to how relevant our mission is. So then you can say our mission is quite generic and not very specific to our industry. But then this is not a bad mission though. Getting things done is how the company operates, right? We need to get things done for our clients. Then if you look at our vision, right, you can clearly see something called, it says Daistruk's vision is to have a positive impact on all stakeholders through the provision of sustainable supply chain strategies and services. All right. So this is quite important. So sustainable supply chain strategies. As I told you earlier also, sustainability is going to be an important theme throughout this pre-scene because that is what the future is going to hold. Therefore, we need to prepare for that immediately, right? Urgently. So, what are sustainable supply chain strategies? We look at that, right? So, supply chain sustainability refers to companies' efforts to consider the environmental and human impact of their products' journey through the supply chain. So, from raw materials sourcing to production, storage, delivery, and every transportation link in between. So, if you can understand where Daistruk comes into play here is in terms of storage, delivery, and of course, transportation. So, delivery includes that, right? So, we need to ensure that our offerings are sustainable, right? Our storage facilities are sustainable. Maybe we can have solar panels in our warehouse roofs, right? So therefore, for the roofs of our warehouses, where we will be able to use renewable energy in our warehouses. So that is a wonderful way to move forward, right? So that way we will be able to show our clients that, look, we are a sustainable company, right? We are into sustainability. So we would be able to support with any sustainable supply chain strategies that our clients are going to uh, take on, right? So we would be able to help with those, assist with those. So this is a very important point to remember, because this can once again come up in the exam. So know what supply chain sustainability means and how Daistruk can support our clients to achieve that.